Secure your peace of mind by calling Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. That's Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. From traditional funeral services to memorials to direct cremation, pre-needs, and more. Call Charlotte White at Exquisite Family Mortuary for Southern hospitality in Southern California. That's Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. Exquisite Family Mortuary is located nearby in Inglewood, California. Exquisite Family Mortuary, where your loved one becomes our loved one.
Shine, flies, no time to waste while it's passing you by. Shine, flies, be patient, 'cause good things happen in time. We gon' get it right, we gon' get it right, we gon' get it right. We gon' get it right.
Protests and anthems, yes, we chanting. A movement of people, it's like we dancing to the ministry of. It's the energy of, in memory of them that we love. The trinity of the people, the beast, the power, the truth. We speak the powers even louder. We can say it blacker, we can say it prouder. A woman vice president that went to Howard. Now we talk helping black businesses, and our differences is magnificent. Bringing light to the poor where the prisons is. I was told good life is where forgiveness lives. The ascension is to leave what's left behind and feed the seeds with deeds that bless the mind, caress the mind, and question justify with you and God in time are best aligned.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, your host and White House correspondent. I'm in touch, and so you be in touch. Follow me on all the social media platforms at Dr. Nii-Quartelai. All you got to do is type in Dr. Nii-Q, DRNIIQ. Nobody else will pop up, just me. Go ahead and click follow on all the social media platforms, Instagram, Spill, Threads, all of them. And I'm right there. Also, be sure to download the KBLA app to listen to us live or on demand, or simply tell Alexa to play KBLA Talk 1580. Have you subscribed to A More Perfect Union podcast powered by KBLA Talk 1580? Have you? I'm listening. Well, if you haven't, be sure to do just that. That way you'll never miss an episode. Now, it's time for you to decide the good, bad, and ugly headlines of the day. It's time for your national news roundup. And kicking us off, the Associated Press is reporting that the Trump administration plans to end the IRS direct file program for free tax filing. What's that about? The Trump administration plans to eliminate this IRS direct file program, which is it's an electronic system for filing tax returns directly to the agency for free. The program developed during the Joe Biden presidency was credited by users with making tax filing easy, fast, and economical, but Republican lawmakers and commercial tax prep companies complained. They complained that it was a waste of taxpayer money because, you guessed it, it's a free filing program. A free filing program that already exists, although they're hard to use. The program had been in limbo since the start of the Trump administration as Elon Musk and the Department of Government Efficiency, good old Doge, have slashed their way through the federal government. You might remember that Musk posted in February on his social media site, X, that he had deleted 18F, a government agency that worked on technology projects such as direct file. In other news, a lot of people are asking, can the president revoke a university's tax-exempt status? Speaking of taxes, CNN reporting that the IRS is making plans to revoke Harvard University's tax-exempt status the day after President Trump suggested it represents an unprecedented use of presidential power over the tax code. Now, while there are examples of colleges losing or failing to achieve tax exempt status. That's not a surprise. We've heard that. We've seen that before. This has never come on the heels of a president's expressed wish. You see, the IRS is supposed to be immune from politics. Clearly, we're not seeing a whole lot of that. U.S. law specifically prohibits presidents from directing the IRS to investigate anyone in a section entitled, quote, Prohibition on Executive Branch Influence Over Taxpayer Audits and Other Investigations. While the IRS falls under the Treasury Department, it's important that it be protected from politics as much as possible. Well, we're not seeing enough of that. When we come forward, we're switching gears. I'm really looking forward to welcoming a trailblazer to the show. I'm talking about Trevor Rosier Bird. He is the founder and CEO of Stackwell. And if you haven't heard of it, we're going to tell you all about it. At Stackwell, they're committed to expanding access to investing and increasing participation in financial markets for diverse communities. Oh my goodness. Where have I been? I can't wait to learn about this platform as financial markets are all over the place right now. And we need to be thinking about investing wisely as we buckle up for what will feel like a very long 4 years. More with Trevor Rosier Bird when we come forward. You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Dominique DePrima, and it's almost time to celebrate KBLA's 4th anniversary coming up Juneteenth 2025. We'll be marking the achievement with 4 key community events, including a special symposium, luncheon, and brain trust hosted by me entitled The State of Black Women in Los Angeles. Keep it locked here for details on how to join us for this groundbreaking symposium examining the unique challenges, triumphs, and contributions of Black women in Los Angeles in the areas of education, healthcare, community leadership, cultural and political contributions. This public convocation will provide a critical forum to address the specific social, economic, and political realities facing Black women in LA today. We'll go live with a radio broadcast and YouTube live stream, a public discussion, and a private dialogue with some of LA's most impactful women. It's an affirmation of Black women standing at the intersection of race and gender in times of adversity while demonstrating remarkable resilience and leadership. We will listen and we will speak out and be heard, all in service of finding opportunities and solutions. Please plan to join us in celebrating our 4th anniversary by amplifying the voices of Black women. For more on our symposium and 4 events celebrating 4 years on the air, simply stay tuned or keep an eye on KBLA1580.com and help make this Juneteenth more jubilant with all of us at KBLA Talk 1580.
How serious is youth vaping? Irreversible lung damage serious. 1 in 10 kids vape serious, which warrants a serious conversation from a serious parental figure like yourself. Not the seriously know-it-all sports dad or the seriously smart podcaster. It requires a serious conversation that is best had by you. No, seriously, the best person to talk to your child about vaping is you. To start the conversation, visit talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
Small businesses are the heart of America. But you don't have to go it alone. As the nation's largest nonprofit resource of expert business mentoring, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses for free. Get the connections, education, and guidance you need with SCORE. We're ready to help. Find a mentor today at score.org.
Lena Bloom for the Bail Project.
Imagine you're stuck in a jail cell and you can't afford bail and someone offers you a way out. Just plead guilty, and you can go home and kiss your kids goodnight. What do you do? What thousands have. You plead guilty whether you are or not. Cash bail makes poverty a crime. That's why the Bail Project helps those who can't afford it while fighting to end cash bail. Because freedom should be free.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
How do you spend your audio time on smart speakers?
Hello.
Hey, Alexa.
I'm Alexa.
Play KBLA Talk 1580.
Okay, let's play.
We have no permanent friends or permanent enemies. Only permanent interests. As we effort to build a more perfect union.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I really enjoy talking to pioneers. I really enjoy talking to folks who are shaking things up. I oftentimes say that we can feed the fear or feed the imagination. We can't do both. And joining me this hour is a leader on the front lines that is feeding the imagination. He has cooked up a platform that I think is going to make a big difference in a lot of people's lives, not just here in the United States, but around the world, as the leader of the only investment platform dedicated to closing the racial wealth gap. Stackwell founder and CEO Trevor Rosier Bird has been at the forefront of shaping financial access and equity, and he is here with us today. Welcome to the show, Trevor.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you having me on tonight.
Well, thank you for being here. And so, let's talk a little bit about your origin story. Before we get to the platform, tell me about, when you first became interested in financial literacy. Where did this all start?
Sure. So for me, I guess I grew up in New Jersey, probably about an hour south of Wall Street. Came from a family. We didn't really talk a ton about the financial markets. The only example that I had of that when I was growing up was my grandfather that was a postal worker. Every check that he got, he put a little bit aside and was buying stock in like the local utility companies and things like that. So I saw it. I kind of knew that it was out there. Fast forward a little bit, went to an all-boys Catholic high school in New Jersey. Many of my peers, their parents worked on Wall Street. But I always had this perception that, I wasn't smart enough. It wasn't for me. It wasn't something that I could do. I ultimately went off to Boston College, got a job on Wall Street at a law firm supporting many of the largest investment banks in the world right after college. And I just so happened to fall into a practice group that was focused on investment management. And so that was my first real exposure to this process. I was an athlete my entire life. And when I got there, it was an environment that required excellence every single day. Like you had to be perfect, you had to show up, you had to, really be great at what you were doing. And I just loved it. It just replicated what I had lost after graduating college and no longer having my sport to play. And in that moment, as a 22-year-old kid, like I just gravitated towards understanding the financial markets and how to get started. And for me, I made a couple of small early investments at that point in time. One in particular was I invested in Apple way back when. This is, pre-iPhone, all of those things. And fast forward a couple of years later, and when I was in law school, the stock had gone from $68 a share to $400 a share and paid for a year of law school.
Wow.
So it was experiences like that happened for me early. And then, as I graduated law school, I ended up going back to New York City, working again for many clients in that space, in finance and asset management. And, those experiences were really profound for me because I found myself really helping to build wealth for a lot of people that frankly did not look like me and were not from the communities that I came from.
Yeah.
And really what I saw there was like, there wasn't anything necessarily unique or special or differentiated about the individuals that I was serving. It was just the opportunity that they had. And so I wanted to take those experiences. I wanted to share it with more people. I wanted to create a sense of representation in this space for people that had historically felt as though the process of investing, much like I had, was not for them.
Yeah.
So,
Now, Trevor, and we're gonna talk plenty about Stackwell, but back to your origin story. I just want to get back to your grandfather, right?
okay.
Both of my grandfathers had passed, uh, you know, really by the time I was 1 year old, and so I never had a chance to really get to know them. But you had a chance, it sounds like, to get to know your grandfather. Talk to us about some of the very formative experiences around relationship to money that have been instructive to how you have gone about building Stackwell, this platform that, as I mentioned earlier, is the only investment platform dedicated to closing the racial wealth gap.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the thing that is like stands out most in my mind is that I never saw him chasing, right? Like a lot of people in our community, we come from places where maybe we didn't have much, we didn't have access to a lot of things, and so oftentimes when we do get it, it's I want to buy that house, I want to buy that car, that bag that I always wanted, and I understand that, right? Like we want to satisfy and reward ourselves for all of the hard work. And the thing that, constantly stands out for me in my relationship with him and in observing him over many years, I was fortunate to have him for the first 40 years of my life. Um, it was just the fact that he was consistent in who he was and consistent in the process of continually putting money away and allowing the markets, allowing the power of compound interest to do the hard work for him. So, it's, oftentimes we're told in our communities we have to work twice as hard and be twice as smart. But the reality is you have to allow your money to get into places where it can work for you, and really start to transform outcomes and create opportunities for you to have greater agency and control to shape and direct the things that actually matter in your life.
I think that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And so, does this platform, Stackwell, do you see it almost as a living memorial to your grandfather?
I see it as a living memorial to a lot of people, to be honest. Certainly to my grandfather, also to my grandmother, who, she grew up in Newark, New Jersey, both of them born in the early 1930s. Like they weren't supposed to do anything in their life, right? But they, put my mom and her brother through school. My grandmother in particular, she went to college when my mom went to college, part-time over the course of 8 years, then went to law school when I was born. And so like I saw all of these experiences of persistence and this unwavering belief that whatever I set my mind to, I had the capacity to do. And so in a very real way, Stackwell is more than just an investment platform. It is about this unwavering commitment and belief that people that have assumed or have been looked down on historically, like we have unwavering belief and commitment in their capacity and upward mobility. And we are here to walk alongside them on that journey towards financial stability and resilience and wealth building. Because again, as I said before, like if there's anything that I've learned in my professional career, it's that people that have access to capital can shape and direct outcomes. And if we were to truly change the facts and circumstances as they exist in the communities in which we live, we need to have capital in order to do so. And so in very real everyday terms, like this company and what it stands for represents what both of them poured into me over the course of my life.
I mean, what I love so much about your story and why it was important to me that we start with your origin story is because I think you paint a picture of what generational wealth can look like. And starting from your grandparents, particularly your grandfather, who, as you mentioned, was a postal worker, right? This was a government worker, by the way, many of which who are not being treated well by our government at the moment. But I digress. But your grandfather was a postal worker who just put a little bit away and a little bit more away and a little bit more and a little bit more, and was able to send your mom and family to school, who then were able to send you to school. But they sent you to school not just to go get an education, But in the words of another very famous person from New Jersey, Whitney Elizabeth Houston, who said in The Greatest Love of All, teach them well, let them lead the way. Your grandfather taught you well enough to be able to make some smart investments that helped you to pay off a year of law school. I mean, so when we think about generational wealth, I think your story in the making is a part of what it looks like when things begin to trend in a different direction, right? You're not that many generations removed from your grandfather, but we can see in your story and in the platform that you're building that you're beginning to trend in a different direction. And that's certainly what we want to see a whole lot more of.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think one of the things that we try to communicate through Stackwell is that there's no one definition of what wealth looks like or what wealth can mean to any individual person. For me, wealth is about freedom, right? Like we talked about the generations and the progression from my grandparents through my parents to me. Like I'm a parent also. I've got 3 small children here, and my kids are 10, 7, and 4. And in so many ways, like building this company and the work that I do has allowed me to become the parent that I always wanted to be, because I'm instilling in my children this belief that they can go and chase their dreams and that they can be unafraid to dare to do something and potentially fail, right? And so to me, wealth is freedom. Like I knew as a Black man in this country that my margin for error was always razor thin. And I don't want that for my children. And so I need capital, I need access to wealth in order to create a set of opportunities and experiences for them that look different. And so my definition of wealth is different than your definition of wealth, which is different than the next person's definition of wealth. But the fact of the matter is, like, we need to get into spaces where we are participating in processes like investing in the financial markets, which is unequivocally the greatest wealth building tool that this country has ever seen.
Well, I think you and I would both agree on the power of financial freedom, to say the least. Stackwell is not only empowering Black Americans to build generational wealth through investment tools and education, but you're also collaborating with financial institutions, with community organizations, with impact investors, and we'll talk a little bit later about even some professional sports teams. But first things first. Just tell us, how does the platform work for people that are like, this is interesting. Mental note, I am going to check this out when I get in front of my computer. Talk to us about how the platform works, just the basic ABCs.
Sure. So, again, wanting to ensure that we could provide a space for more people to engage in this process, we've tried to simplify it as much as possible. And one of the biggest things that I heard as I was thinking about building the business was, just the profound angst and anxiety that a lot of people have around even just getting started and making the first decision of what to invest your money in, right? And so what we've done is we help automate that process by getting people into well-diversified portfolios that we know are going to allow them to have sustainable long-term investment options. We then pair that with access to education that's delivered in culturally competent ways so that people feel represented in this process. They see themselves through the imagery, the language, the examples that we use to communicate foundational principles of financial wellness and investing. But really, one of the most important things that we do through the platform is we provide people with tools that are rooted in the science of learning, the science of behavioral change, to help people stick in this process. So it doesn't matter who you are, how much money you have, or where you come from, saving money and investing is a hard thing. And we give you the tools to progressively work through the process to make it as easy as it possibly can be. And then at the end of the day, we try to surround all of that with a sense of community. So you talked about some of the partnerships that we've entered into. It is really important for us to be showing up, meeting people where they are, providing them with the resources and support that they need to be successful in this process. So that's basically it. We ask you questions to understand where you're at in your financial life and the goals that you have, as you look forward into the future. And we help create a investment portfolio and a process and experience that is suited to your needs and will help you achieve the long-term goals that you have for yourself and for your family.
So are there any costs associated with getting onto this platform?
There are costs associated. We charge a monthly subscription fee. It is $5, which is pretty standard.
A whole $5, Trevor?
It is a whole $5. So again, wanting to make sure that this process is as accessible as possible for people, regardless of where they sit in their financial lives.
I think that's incredible. That's incredible. And especially at a time right now where, there's a barrage of headlines about the financial markets. We know that the impact of these tariffs, some people call them sort of a self-inflicted move on an otherwise strong economy here in the United States. The trade war that has been triggered among some of our allies, right, has made the stock market, very unsettling. Talk to us about how Stackwell is a platform that is available at the right time when a lot of folks may be unsure about their investments in the stock market. Some people, might be thinking, okay, this is the time to sort of pull down and draw down on all my investments. I have a sneaking suspicion that Stackwell may say not so fast.
I think you're 100% correct about that. One of the biggest things that we try to communicate to people is understanding the context, both currently and historically, right? So when you take a step back from what is happening over the course of the last couple of weeks, a couple of things that we know to be unequivocally true is that over the last 100+ years, the financial markets in this country have produced about an 8.5% rate of return every single year on average. So what that means is your money is consistently growing every single year, compounding over time at a rate that is far greater than holding it in a bank account or potentially anything else that you're doing. So it is an extremely powerful process. We also know that there are ebbs and flows in this process. I think one of my personal frustrations with the industry and how the markets are generally covered is that it's always presented in this like hyper frenetic sort of way. We are focused on the performance of individual trading days or months or quarters. The reality is like that stuff doesn't really matter because we've got hundreds of years of data to support that the longer that you're in this process, the better off you will be. So in moments like this, we're counseling and educating our people to understand that, yes, it may seem unsettling, but we know that there will be a recovery. And oftentimes when there are downturns like this, the recovery is very strong and produces returns that far outpace where the market was prior to the dips that we are currently experiencing. So I think for me personally and for the users on Stackwell, we try to understand, again, the context. We try to stay the course.
Yeah.
Depending on your level of comfortability, this may be an opportunity to possibly go even deeper into the market, put more money to work. But really understanding that this is just a moment in time and that over the longer term, this is a place in which you need to be to ultimately grow your assets is the core message that we're communicating to our people.
When we come forward more with the founder and CEO of Stackwell, Trevor Rosier-Byrd, who's at the forefront of reshaping financial access and equity. When we come forward, we're going to talk to him about some of the partners that he's working with to make this platform really stand out and scale up, including some very familiar names that are part of the NBA. You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
If you're looking to be engaged, enlightened, and empowered about issues related to national politics, elections, identity, culture change, and social justice, you tuned into the right place. A More Perfect Union continues when we come forward.
I'm
Esther Dillard with 4 things you should know from BIN News. 2 people are dead and 5 people hurt after a shooting around noon at Florida State University. The FSU police chief says the gunman is a current student at the school. The 20-year-old shooter is the son of a sheriff's deputy and had access to one of her weapons. The Supreme Court will hear arguments on birthright citizenship next month. President Trump signed an executive order ending automatic birthright citizenship as enshrined in the Constitution's 14th Amendment. Just days before municipal runoff elections are held in Mississippi, Democratic U.S. Representative Benny Thompson, who is Black, announced his endorsement of State Senator John Horn over Black incumbent Chokwe Antar Lumumba for mayor of the city of Jackson. And Kodak Black reportedly has paid rent for more than 200 residents at a Florida housing community. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Tough and Castaic on that 5 southbound. We're seeing delays right now, getting away from Hasley Canyon all the way to make that Lyons Avenue right now. This is due to road work, and that drive is just absolutely slammed. It's tough out of Calabasas, 101 southbound, leaving Lost Hills. Delays and stretches as you continue into downtown Los Angeles. And we're also heading out to Orange County. This is the 5 northbound, pushing back from the 133 freeway in Irvine all the way to Harbor in Anaheim.
Are you sick of drying chlorinated water in your home? At LifeSource, they believe your health, your skin, and your hair deserve better. Enjoy delicious, clean water from every tap with a LifeSource water system. Call 1-800-WATER-99 or visit lifesourcewater.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Big props to the Rams. The Rams will make their picks for the NFL draft at the LA Fire Department's Air Operations Headquarters in Van Nuys. The Rams are paying tribute to the responders who helped battle the wildfires in January. $3 million have been donated by the Rams for relief efforts. The 3-day NFL draft begins April 24th in Green Bay. Barring a trade, the Rams will have the 26th pick in the first round. The Chargers' first-round pick is at number 22. Serena Williams made Time Magazine's list for the top 100 most influential people in 2025. The Compton native, now 43, retired from tennis in 2023. Her last event was the U.S. Open in 2022. There are reports circulating that former Tennessee quarterback Nii-Quartelai is preparing to transfer to UCLA. Quartelai, who grew up in Long Beach, led Tennessee last season to the college football playoffs. Stay tuned. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
At Exquisite Family Mortuary, we know how overwhelming it can be planning a meaningful farewell for your loved one. Secure your peace of mind by calling Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. That's Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. From traditional funeral services to memorials to direct cremation, pre-needs, and more. Call Charlotte White at Exquisite Family Mortuary for Southern hospitality in Southern California. That's Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. Exquisite Family Mortuary is located nearby in Inglewood, California. Exquisite Family Mortuary, where your loved one becomes our loved one.
At Providence, health equity is the foundation of our community health initiatives, ensuring care reaches those who need it most. Heart disease is the leading cause of death in America. African Americans face a higher risk of life-threatening issues like hypertension, the #1 cause of stroke. 55% of Black adults have high blood pressure. The good news is 80% of heart disease is preventable with healthy lifestyle changes and patient-centered care provided by the Providence Heart and Vascular Institute. From routine screenings to advanced procedures, Providence provides comprehensive care for the heart conditions that overly impact our community by ensuring patients receive treatments tailored to their needs. Let's stop the trend of being 30% more likely to die from heart-related problems. Take charge of your heart health with world-class cardiologists who deliver the compassionate care you deserve. Visit providence.org/SoCalHeart. That's providence.org/SoCalHeart to request an appointment.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Hit me.
National news with consequence. Informed opinion. And analysis beyond the headlines. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, and he is Trevor Rosier Bird. He is the founder and CEO of Stackwell. If you haven't heard of them, you got to check them out. They are committed to expanding access to investing and increasing participation in financial markets for diverse communities. They have a really easy to use app that makes investing and financial education accessible, making economic equity a reality. I know a number of folks have been quite busy in the More Perfect group chat on YouTube. We heard from Morris Phillips, who is one of our loyalists in the chat, reminding us that African technology is the future investment, encouraging us to check out microsonic energy generators, Apple, Tesla, and the stock markets are obsolete. That's what he says in his comments here. And we also have folks reminding us that if we're talking financial wealth, be sure the feds can't take it from you through asset forfeiture, tax seizures, or changes in laws. At least that's what folks are saying in the group chat. But Trevor, what are you hearing from the folks that are signing up on this platform, folks who are downloading this app, folks who are making investments as a result of some of the education that's available on this app? What are you hearing from consumers?
I think the response that we hear anytime that we are out and actually engaging with users of the platform is just overwhelmingly positive. And I think really what it comes down to is the way in which the brand shows up and the ways in which the brand represents them. And the fact that we have created a space for people, again, as I said earlier, that have historically thought that this process was not for them. So what we see like across the board is honestly just like a sense of thanks and an appreciation for the work that we do and the ways in which we bring resources back to the community and create pathways and access to opportunity for more people.
And so, Trevor, talk to us about some of the partners that you are working with to not just stand up this platform, but to scale this platform, to make it more accessible, to really spread the word far and wide. Folks like the Social Change Fund United, I understand, is one of the partners you joined forces with, pioneering this fintech platform. Who else are you working with?
Yeah, so we are very intentional about the company we keep, to be clear. So super excited about the work that we're doing with Social Change Fund, their leadership, their commitment to community, and really uplifting people and using the power of their platforms to drive influence and change. And so those are the types of organizations that we like to engage with. We have done a number of programs across the country, specifically supporting HBCUs and HBCU students. We've partnered with organizations like Student Freedom Initiative, which was founded by Robert Smith of Vista Equity Partners. We have also partnered with organizations like nonprofits, United Way in Southeast Louisiana, so doing work in communities that need us the most. You think about LA as a market, you think about New Orleans, you think about where many of the HBCUs are located in the Southeast and Gulf South. We are going to places that have historically been either underinvested or disinvested in, and showing up with partners that are actually committed to driving real and lasting change. And that comes not only in the form of capital that we're driving back into these communities, but also in terms of resources and education to help people transform the outcomes that they pursue for themselves.
And speaking of helping people transform their outcomes, I don't know if you know this, Trevor, but just yesterday, KBLA Talk 1580, we hosted a town hall. It's been 100 days since the fires in Altadena and Eaton Canyon, the fires in the Palisades all across greater Los Angeles. And we got an earful from folks there that are still disoriented and still in the midst of really beginning to put their lives back together again. And I understand that not just you, but a number of folks you've been working with, particularly NBA players like Carmelo Anthony and Dwayne Wade and Chris Paul, have joined forces with you to support LA business owners affected by the fires. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so earlier this week, alongside a social change fund and the NBA Players Association, we announced the launch of the Visionary Ventures program, which is designed to provide capital as well as business development and financial education resources to small business owners in LA that have been impacted by the wildfires. And this is both about helping people to restore and recover from the wildfires, but also helping to build back stronger with a sense of resilience and opportunity for those that have been affected. I certainly listened to the town hall that you all had yesterday. It was extremely powerful. And, you know, just as a quick aside, I was in LA 2.5 weeks ago, and my grandmother's brother, who recently passed away, lived in Inglewood, and I found myself driving through the city and just thinking, like, if these streets could talk, right? If these businesses had a platform, what would they say, right? And so I think one of the things that we in the teams at Social Change Fund and certainly the NBA Players Association, we're trying to provide a platform and create access to greater opportunities to allow people to realize the fullest extent of their potential. And that comes with actually putting your money where your mouth is and creating programs like the Visionary Ventures program.
I think that's awesome. And you know, one of the things that we heard loud and clear yesterday is that there have been a lot of resources that have been raised for people affected by the wildfires, tens of millions of dollars. But part of the challenge is connecting the impacted people with the resource, right? And so to the extent that we here at A More Perfect Union, we here at KBLA can be a part of mitigating some of the challenges of making that connection, facilitating that connection, we definitely want to be in the business of doing that. This platform that you built, Stackwell, could not roll out at a better time when we see so many, attacks on our attempts to build that generational wealth and to pass on that knowledge that helps to create more, not less, economic security. Your platform is doing that, and we want to do our best to make sure people know about it. And so where can people go to download the app or check you out online? Where can people go?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can go to the App Store, Google Play Store to download the app and get started with us and move forward with your financial journey today. Just download the app and we'll get you started. Small business owners that are in LA can also, as they've downloaded the app, go to the community section of the app and apply to participate in this program. So we are open currently for applications to participate. And certainly welcome all interested parties as we move forward. In terms of where people can find us and follow us, certainly on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, those are the spaces where you will find us showing up for our community, advocating for change, providing thought leadership in this space. And really, I think to your point about how do you connect people with resources, I think it all comes down to trust and the way in which you show up. And so that's why it's so important for us to have created this program alongside of Social Change Fund and the NBA Players Association, because I think NBA players, the league, the team owners over the last several years have been unwavering in their commitment to these issues and to our communities, and that matters, right? And so continuing to show up in a trusted way and provide key resources is what we're about. And we're excited to continue to do that work, certainly in LA.
Well, we're excited that you've chosen our platform to spread the word. We'll have to have you back again soon. Our thanks to Trevor Rosier Bird, the founder and CEO of Stackwell. I can already see my sound engineer extraordinaire, Andy. He was holding up his cell phone because he just downloaded your app. And so to all of our leaders, learners, and listeners out there, if me and Andy are into this app, then you might want to check it out too. Our thanks to Trevor Rosier Bird. Thank you, sir.
All right. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you too. You've been listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580, the quiet part out loud when we come forward.
Striving to make America a nation as good as its promise. This is A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
This is Stevie Wonder, calling on Los Angeles property owners to help get unhoused veterans off the street. If you're a property owner or know someone who is, consider accepting veteran housing vouchers. You will receive guaranteed rent while providing a stable and safe home. Help end veteran homelessness and make a real difference in people's lives.
Learn more by emailing houseourvets@lacity.org.
Shaka Khan, Patti LaBelle, Gladys Knight, Stephanie Mills. The BPC presents The Queens, 4 Legends, 1 Stage Tour. Shaka Khan, Patti LaBelle, Gladys Knight, and Stephanie Mills. The Queens, 4 Legends, 1 Stage. Mother's Day, May 11th at Kia Forum. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. LA County's new Justice Care and Opportunities Department, or JCOD, is here to support justice-involved individuals and their families. The JCOD Support Center is now taking calls at 1-833-LACJCOD. That's 1-833-522-5263. Available 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. The Support Center is your one-stop shop for re-entry issues and court support. They offer court reminders, connections to local services, transportation assistance for housing, court appearances, and childcare. The JCOD hotline provides personalized help to connect you with services that you need. And don't forget to check out justiceconnect.org for more information. Remember, it's free and available every day at 1-833-522-5263. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
Notable journalists, industry leaders, lawmakers, change makers, tastemakers, and you, working to build a more perfect union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. Really appreciated having Trevor from Stackwell on the show. Again, if you haven't already, you may want to check out that app, the Stackwell app. I was really captivated by that. And I can tell all y'all in the More Perfect group chat on YouTube, chatting with us live. We see you. Morris Phillips, Pretty Brown Mimi 726. Thank you for joining us here. Selena Ricks, how you doing? It's great to see you in the chat again. Pretty Brown Mimi 726, says in the chat, as a non-financial person, where do I invest my money, and how much do I start with? I think it's a really great question. I think it's an important question. That's a part of the reason why I think the app exists, is for people that may not be financial whizzes, right? But want to seek out a resource that is intended for us. It's intended to help us out. I mean, this is, a brother working with a lot of other brothers to create a resource to help us out. The same way that his grandfather put him on, he's trying to put us on. And so check that out for sure. Speaking of putting folks on, have you got your Beyonce tickets yet? You going on the Cowboy Carter tour, Andy? You gonna join Beyonce on the Cowboy Carter tour? Are you gonna join Kendrick or Beyonce? Okay. So he says he's putting his dollars to work with Kendrick. He said he may be sticking around for maybe a Beyonce movie, right? Something like that. But I don't know if you all saw this article. Maybe about a little over a week ago, the LA Times saying that there are plenty of cheap seats left for Beyonce's Cowboy Carter tour. Some people wonder, is that a bad omen for live music? Beyonce's Cowboy Carter, of course, took home the Grammy's top prize, but fans in some markets aren't pulling the trigger on buying her concert tickets. The pop megastar's upcoming Cowboy Carter tour seemed as sure a bet as is possible in live music, given the Album of the Year win, followed by sold-out Renaissance tour, which was in such high demand that American fans actually flew to Europe for a discount. When was the last time you heard that? But several outlets noticed, to judge by prices for available seats in prime cities like Los Angeles, the Beehive seems slower to return to stadiums this time around. Tickets for the opening of her 5-night Southern California run, it starts April 28th at SoFi Stadium, as of a little over a week ago. Now, this could have changed, but a little over a week ago, they're still widely available and selling for as little as $59. And that's all in pricing, including fees on Ticketmaster's verified resale program, and subsequent dates at SoFi are going for as low as $35. And so if you like a bargain as much as I like a bargain, you may want to check that out. I see Pretty Brown Mimi 726 in the More Perfect group chat saying, wait, what, Beyonce's going on another tour? She says, I love Beyonce, but child, please. Look, she's going on another tour, and you never know who might pop up at a Beyonce concert. Let me finish with this. From Beyonce to Azalea Banks, two very different kinds of artists. The Griot is reporting that Azalea Banks regrets her vote for Donald Trump's second term, saying this is an absolute disaster. The Griot reporting that Azalea Banks is no longer singing the praises of her once, quote, effing hero, Donald Trump. I didn't say it. That's why it's a quote. On Wednesday, the ever controversial 33-year-old rapper stirred the pot only once again by getting candid in a post on X about feeling remorseful for voting for him for a second time, saying, okay, I think it's time everyone who voted for Trump admit that we made an effing mess. That's what she wrote on X. She went on to say, quotes, like, this is an absolute disaster. She added that Trump was, quotes, petty and, quotes, vindictive, albeit rightfully so. She went on to say, but not when the well-being and livelihood of billions of people, damn near the entire world, lay in your hands. She said, someone needs to get him a cute little lorazepam prescription and a high-grade ashwagandha supplement, because it can't happen like this. Nobody on earth is afraid of crazy white men anger. Old white men need to reinvent the archetype because it's too predictable. Like China is just dunking on everyone right now. And look, Azalea Banks, she's not alone. According to recent polls, Trump currently has a 53% unfavorable approval rating. And so, you know, what do y'all think? What do you think? You agree with Azalea Banks? You know, how many folks out there voted for Trump are expressing remorse right now? And who knows, that number may grow. I think the most important thing is, how do you channel that energy, right? I don't think it's enough to regret anything, whether it's a vote or a relationship, you know, any mistake that you make. It's not enough to just regret it. It's okay, so what are you going to do to repair the harm? What are you going to do to change course, to make things better? Obviously, it's going to be a while to the next election, right? But you know, to me, that's the headline that I was looking for. And you know, look, we'll keep our eye out for Azalea Banks' answer to that question, and anyone else who is displeased with what's happening right now in our country and wants to see us chart a different course. We'll have to leave it there. My thanks to the entire village helps us produce a more perfect union each and every day. Our executive producer, Tavis Smiley, our sound engineer extraordinaire, Andy, and of course, our producers, Faraji, Kim, and Art, and each and every one of you, all of our leaders, learners, and listeners. We love you. We curate this show every day with you in mind. Remember, don't panic. Organize. Do what you can from where you are with what you have, but by all means, do something. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, and you have been listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
Florida State University, 2 people are dead and 5 more were wounded during the incident. A school bus crash in South Carolina has left several students injured. The bus was carrying middle schoolers roughly 40 miles south of Charlotte.